So this is going to be the first of my video diaries that I'm going to start making. I want to do this so I can kind of look back on my life and get a better idea of who I was at each stage in my life. I'm worrying that I'm building myself into this rut of where I can only do, I guess, like a boring job, one that's not very satisfying and doesn't give me much of a sense of purpose. They couldn't really tell me much on, So I think about all the people at Career Service. I was just going through my email, and I just feel so judged by them because I know that they just think I'm a fucking idiot. They view what I want to do as that wrong choice, that dangerous choice that'll eventually lead me down to this path of failure. I want that title of what I'm actually looking for. I don't view it that way at all. I view what they're doing as a failure, at least to me, and what I view if I were to do it. So yeah, it's me. I haven't been talking to the camera in a while. Just for reference, I quit my internship. Maybe I shouldn't be getting so stressed out about this, but the fact of the matter is, I would have been stressed out at that job. You can call it a fault, but for me, it's a fact of my life. I am going to be stressed out if I do that. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll be okay. I'll figure it out when I won't. But I think I will. I'll give some context. It'll be 7 years when I graduate that I will have been in school for an intense period, because that's just how I treat school now. It's very consuming, extremely consuming. And so I'll have successfully done that, and I can say that was a period in my life. But I think from then on, I want to travel. It's not that'll solve all my problems. I don't think so, but I wasn't sure I could do it alone. So I asked one of my oldest friends, Sean. He didn't have a plan after school either, so he said yes. I loved reading Jack Kerouac and listening to Bob Dylan in college. I know that's generic, but those guys seemed free, and I wanted to feel the same way and be like them. But how did they do it? I had this book in a stack on my desk, and on our last spring break, Sean and I decided to flip through it and mark everything that caught our eye. I couldn't imagine going to all these different places. They seemed too vast to be in just one country. It felt like we couldn't possibly see it all, but that didn't matter. We told ourselves we would. So, we planned everything. Where we'd sleep, what we'd eat, and where we'd go each day to make sure we could see it all. I was determined to check off every place on that list. Then we graduated. Then we left. What about the bagels?
I don't know.
The Smokies were much bigger than I expected. Growing up in Ohio, I thought I knew what rural America was like, but I was wrong. In the woods back home, I still knew where everything was around me, and I could put it in the context of my surroundings. But as we approached those mountains, I saw how vast they were. And once we got on the back roads, our phones stopped working, and I lost my sense of direction. No matter where I looked, the forest just seemed endless. Like in the past, I was feeling tight and squeezed, but also alone. So, we just arrived in our second campsite. It's in Pisgah National Forest. I'm only thinking about what's going to happen tonight. Are we going to get through the night? Are we going to get to our next location? Where are we going in our next location? Where am I right now? What am I going to eat? Am I going to be okay? And it's like, I know I don't need to worry about any of this stuff, but it's interesting what's happening because...
Right. Well, see, the thing is if we can, we don't have to do that.
I'm not worried constantly. I'm not stressing out constantly, but I just... Well, we got back to our campsite, and our stuff was stolen. Are we just gonna walk in here and just like...
No.
Why not? It's a cottage. It's a lodge and cottage. Dude, we can just ask them, like, we just want to get to fucking town, dude.
You know where the town is. It's just up the road. We're in town.
What town? Dude, do you want to ask how much it is here? It's probably very expensive. Let's just ask them, like, where we can go to... like, this is fun. Can we just do this?
I say we do that last resort.
What do you mean last... Dude, we gotta leave, dude. We just need directions.
Do you not have service?
No, I don't have service. I just need to ask them how we get to, like, somewhere cheap to stay.
I know, that's why we just park and just sleep in the car.
No, Sean... Not gonna sleep in a parking lot that we don't know anything about, Sean. This place is weird. I'm not sleeping in the middle of fucking nowhere.
You want to go over,
I looked out at the ocean and saw no more land. The only way forward from there was to turn around and come back the way we came from. I mean, we were at the bottom. You couldn't go any further. Not sure I wanted to, though. But that's what I told myself I was going to do, so... I was going home for Thanksgiving break, and I talked to some of my friends. I said, guys, what are you doing? Some of the physics guys. I said, guys, what are you doing over break? And they were all like, oh, grad school apps. They're due, you know, they're finally due. And it didn't hit me until later that day. And I thought, wow, that's finally happening. I graduate in about a month, which is very soon. A month really doesn't take that long. I always thought in the back of my head, oh, well, maybe I could. You know, maybe I could do it real quick, just get it real done real quick. And that would be fine, and I could apply. But now it's like, no, you can't. Like, it's fully, you let that ship sink. And I am very... But I know I want to move on to something else, but it's just like, I just don't know. I don't know what I want to do. The dream, the plan, since early on in high school, and I decided what the end goal of it was going to be, where that path was going to be, like before even starting out.
And I don't
have
know
no
what I
idea.
want. No idea where I want to
What
go.
I'm supposed to be doing.
Can't be
Working
in it
towards
anymore.
it.
When I want to
What is
run
there to be
away.
stressed about? What the fuck else do I have?
Before we left home, I anticipated feeling out of control. And I did. It was completely different than the routine I built up to that point. But I was starting to get used to this type of travel. I liked it a lot better than the alternative. People weren't running away from New York's kind of hostile energy. I saw them going toward it, and it was inspiring to see them so deeply invested in their passions. For the longest time, I thought I had a passion like them, and life made sense. But eventually, I realized it wasn't quite right. And even though I admitted that to myself, I didn't know what else to do, so I made myself keep going, even though life started to feel more and more like it was just happening to me. Like I was kind of just existing. Anyway, the people there, with their routines, missions, and their lives they've built, I envied that. It would have been my first day if I was still in school. I remember what I was doing on my last first day. Okay, I've had another realization. So, I'm thinking about my grades and stuff and whether I'll get all A's again. And it doesn't matter. It does not matter. I have good enough grades to prove to people that I'm smart. But here's the thing. And here's the real thing. Instead, I was waking up in a casino parking lot. People looked at me strange. Same way I would have looked at someone making breakfast in a parking lot. I used to think that grades, it meant that is how people judge me for my intellect. I wanted to tell them I'm a good kid. I'm a straight A student. If you're only trying to get good grades and you're like, but I'm not anymore. They were right.
Yeah, it does.
There weren't enough interstates out west, so we had to start taking more state and county roads. Driving on them felt much more real. On the interstate, we only got out of the car and on our feet in a city or generic rest stop. But now we could just pull off the road and eat or get gas or whatever. We went like 60 miles through open hills before finding like the smallest town I've ever seen. One main road off the state route and like 5 side streets with a few houses each. Couldn't have been more than like 60 people living there. It was one of those places you just drive by and assume is abandoned. There was this gas station there and we stopped by just expecting to quickly fill up and pee and then get back on the road. The owner was this small old lady, and she sat behind the counter in this huge recliner like twice her size. She was talking to a friend who stopped by, and that felt kind of weird. At an interstate gas station, everyone was just too tired and didn't want to talk. The most you heard from someone working there was how much you owed them and cash or card, and then, same for every customer. But when we came out of the bathroom here, the owner stopped us and asked if we were hungry. She gave us food that wasn't great, but was definitely not fast food. Before we left, I asked her how long she lived there, and she said her whole life. She lived in the same house she grew up in, but we could see a lot of the other houses were abandoned. I wanted to ask her more. How many friends she had, how people made friends out here since everything is so far. Did she go to college? And what did she want to do when she was my age? My uncle had real beds for us to sleep in. It was nice, but before I went to bed, all I could think about was the next day. having to wake up early and drive all day just to sleep in the car again. I do like staying with people, but it throws me off. I feel comfortable, but being with people in their homes makes me hyper aware that I don't have one, and I miss it. It bothered me when I saw what I'll call touristy tourists, because it made things feel too much like a vacation. And that's not what I envisioned this to be. I've wanted it to feel like real life, just out on the road. I started wanting to skip some places and stay longer at others, but Sean kept bringing up the past, what we said in the past, what we promised in the past. He said he'd feel like he'd let himself down if he didn't see it all. I understood, but...
Oh, God, I just feel like my life is so not where it's supposed to be right now. That just everything is just wasted right now. Everything about right now is it just feels like this is not what it's supposed to be. And yeah, maybe it's just because of my expectations of this summer. I released Bardo today, my movie. And it's like no one really cares. Is this stuff I'm making good anymore? You know? I feel like it's like, oh, I'm not as good. And it's like, what am I spending my time doing? I'm not going to grad school. Like, I was really good at that stuff. I was really good at physics. And did I just let go of something that...
But I didn't feel that way anymore. We were going to stop in Helena for a little and then just stay in a spot outside of it. But when we got there, we saw there was really nothing we wanted to do, so we kept driving without a plan on where to stay. Eventually we saw some RVs parked in a field and noticed it was public land. We pulled off there and called it a night. It was one of the best nights. September 12th. I experience something new each day, which causes each day to be remembered. September 11th, but not because of the memories. You can't think enough to fit the pieces together. I want to make memories in my life insights because they are something not just personal to me about it. September insights 16th. Uncover themselves over time. Just living life is different. Trying to force them out with thoughts won't. When you go through the motions, that's just 12th. Being alive. I wish I could see it all like just living life is enjoying life, but not a random. But I thought there'd be more. Just live and be patient. Missing something? The answers will become apparent. September 10th. What is this feeling I want out here? As I feel myself every day, I want freedom. I feel always as if I want fulfillment. I want to feel the pioneering spirit. Or did it just fit the character? August 31st, not just living. What would I do? What do I want to do? Is there? How to get the best. Is that feeling just scared there? Any inspiration from others? Is this all just an illusion of freedom? Written and edited how so much. This is not. I'm not living it. I thought it was free. I have no free will. Moments are for. I don't even know what I would be doing if I could. Bigger than wrong with it. That was actually a lot.
I told you, it's fucking full in there.
What I've been keeping from you and what I've been keeping from Sean is why coming here is so important. It goes back to a family vacation 10 years ago. It started normal, and then I just became really scared.
I was doing fine beforehand, but for some reason, I don't know why, but I just kind of locked up, and I just really became really scared really fast.
And when I woke up the next day, I was still scared. And same with the next, and the next. My parents had to take me home, but even there I was too scared to leave the house. I was so jealous of everyone who seemed normal. I wanted to feel normal. It had been so long since I had. And I doubted if I'd ever feel normal again. I decided life was scary. I should be afraid. And that became my new normal. That trip has steered the direction of my life. For almost half my life, I've been angry with what it's looked like. I don't know what I was expecting coming back here. Maybe validation for how I felt these past 10 years. I wanted to see that this place was significant after all it had done to me. But when I went to the house my family had rented, it was just a house. And when I went to the local market, it was just a store. And the beach. Just another beach. I've been fighting with my past about what my life is supposed to be, and I've let it define me. I had told Sean I would keep going. I had told my family that I'd keep going. And I told myself I'd keep going. Or rather, my past said that I'd keep going. I thought I was running away from my old life in hopes of finding freedom. But I planned exactly how to run. And ended up back where I started. I actually never left. This is a life, but it's not the one that I want. I'm called to other things now. So, I'll sit on this coast. Then tomorrow, I'll go home. And then